Greetings, this is Eduardo Jumbo. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to compare code changes using Meld. So this is basically a visual diff and merge tool for developers. So if you remember in a previous tutorial, I used the diff, which is part of the diff utils. That's a command line tool. Sometimes you would prefer, especially if it's a smaller project or you're doing something which you're in full control of, meaning on your workstation, you have both pieces of code or whatever you're trying to compare, so you can use Meld. If you notice, literally some of the previous tutorials, you might have seen me using Meld. For example, when I was doing the Zen card comparison, I do like using Meld. I also use it for client source code as well. So just to perform some of the functionality of Meld, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 2 folders. You can create 3 folders if you want. It works, but I'll just use 2 folders this time. We're going to obviously compare 2 files. We're going to compare 2 folders. I'll probably create another folder just so, because Meld does have a 3-year comparison. And if you don't remember what a diff is, or a patch, that is basically just a patch is basically just the differences, the set of differences. So by seeing this visually, the reason I like Meld is because it's color coded, and you'll be able to notice if something is either missing or something has changed, or they're exactly the same. So obviously, as I said, if you see visually, sometimes that's better than just looking at the code outline, which is sometimes you have no choice. But I'm saying is, if you do have a choice, you might want to use the visual tool. Okay, so to follow along for this tutorial, these are the tools you need. So just use any bitmap editor. I used the GIMP, which is the GNU image manipulation, to create 2 images or 2 photos, whatever you want to do, whatever. And then obviously text editor. This is just so that you can create text files or source code or whatever you want to use for the comparison. So I have recently reviewed 2 IDEs. One was the Apache NetBeans IDE, and the other one was the Guinea editor, which was a lightweight IDE. So you can use those or any editor you wish. And if you're on the command line, of course, you can use SSH, shell access, and then I'm using Meld, which is it's a GUI. So it's a file comparison utility. So this is the code I used to create the first file. This is the code I used to, you can expand here and you can see how you create the second file and the third file. And you can run this right from the command line. You can see, you can just type Meld, and that's what we're going to do. But I'll show you also how, if you don't want to run this on the command line, you can also run it right from the GUI. So I do have the GUI open, and we'll show you that in a second. And you obviously can also compare 3 files here, and we'll do that as well. So then explanation will be easy when we actually see themselves. Now, obviously, it doesn't make sense to compare bitmap files because they're compressed, but you can see if you really want a visual, here it is. And then, of course, when you compare files, I was saying, you see it will show you, it will be color coded or highlighted, and this is the way it is. So, for example, this is 3-way. And this is by comparing folders, which will do this as well. And then obviously when you see when a specific file, you see when something's missing, you see this, it's color coded a different color. Okay, so before we begin, I just want to remind you that every day I'll be hosting a live stream. You visit ojambo.com for details. You go to the watch menu here live, and you'll see the upcoming tutorials and what channel to follow along. Subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. Okay, just let you know, Meld is also open source. It's released under the GNU Public License version 2 or later. That's a copyleft license, which has strict rules and requirements to ensure the software remains free and open source. So just be sure to consult the license for more specific details. Okay, so let's begin. So I'm going to minimize this. I am going to bring in the folder first. So this is the folder. You see I have a whole bunch of images pre-created. The reason I pre-created them is so that the tutorial can go a little faster. I'm pretty sure you know, it can just be any images. And the reason I like this is because you can clearly see that this is an AVF file and this is a JPEG file, even though they have the same exact content. And this one is a straight up copy of this one. And this is obviously very different. And then of course I have two folders here. And there's a, so we actually don't need the patch here, but you see this text 1, text 2, and text 3. And then in these folders, you can see in the first folder we have test 1. And in this two folder, we have test 3. The reason is because those are different. So we'll create another folder here, and then we'll do something else. Actually, let me do that right now so we can get this over and done with. So actually, I'll create the folder on the command line, but if you want to, you can just use your file manager to create a folder and dump a file in there. Okay, so the next thing is, this is what Meld looks like. This is what Meld looks like here. I just want to make it so we can see this folder as well. Yeah, there we go. Just want to show you what Meld looks like. So this is Meld. You can see you can start a new file comparison, you can do a folder comparison, and you can also do version control. So we're going to do actually all three of these comparison. So obviously you can also go to the menu here and you click, see, and it says new comparison. That's another way to do it. And you can open a recent comparison, and there will actually be more options when something is there for comparison. And there's the actual menus also here. You can see view, comparison, and preferences. Let's actually go to preferences. So under preferences, you can see you can change like the dark theme. You can change the tab width, and you know, just some of these things. And you can also have an external if you want to use a default system editor. For example, if you need to make some changes, this editor is not very good if you need to modify whatever, but it's good enough for my purposes. But I'm saying is sometimes it's find it a little bit wonky when you see what I mean when we actually use it. I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm just saying it's not an editor, right? It's just a comparison tool. Just be aware of that. Okay, and then here you can see the folder comparisons. You can also do symbolic links, meaning to follow symbolic links. Right now, it's not set to ignore, so that's great. Compare files based on size and time string. So sometimes the file might be exactly the same, except that its time, maybe it was created a different, for example, if you get a copy, so it might look like it's different. So if you want, you can also base it on the time. However, for example, if a file is in a different, maybe UTF-8 or something like that, it could also be different. So you might want to compare that as well. So the reason you might want to do that is because, as I said, a hacker might create a file. That's one way you can tell that it's been compromised. So usually by the timestamp. So in this case, this is fine. And then for version control, you can see here some options here. You can see commit images and some others like the ordering, the merging, and comparing here. And then obviously you have file filters, and then you have text filters. I believe that's it here. So the most important one here is you see in the font in the editor tab, it says use the system fixed font. I'm okay with that because it's a monospace. You can change the font size here, which I already did. I think by default was 16. I moved it up to 18. It was a little bit small for me, so that's fine. Okay, now let's check here. Okay, so I don't know why I'm doing this, but okay. So let's say I want to compare this AVF file to JPEG. Let's get this out of the way first. I should have actually done this while, so select those two and just drag them in here. So you can see it's working because it basically has to try to make sense of those files. Obviously they're different. So I'll let this run while, in the meantime, while this is running, it's actually running. It'll take a while because they're obviously compressed. This is an AVF, which is actually compressed even further than a JPEG. So while that's running, so let's drop to the command. Actually, no, I won't drop the command line. I'll just I'll create a new folder here and I'll call it 3. Okay, in the 3, I'm going to create a brand new file. And I'll make a document and I'll call that document. Oh, let's make a PHP file. Okay. That's fine, PHP. So let's do some stuff in here. Actually, no, that's fine. Let's make another text file. Actually, you know what? I'll create another text file and I'll change. Let me actually go and copy this text file in the first one. I'll grab it and go to 3. Oops. Okay, there we go. I'm going to modify it. So I'm going to open up the text editor and I'm going to change a few things here. So I'll change this to BART. I'll change this to donations, making, jumbo.com is fine. I'll put a period here. And here I'll put a comma. Actually, that doesn't make sense. I'll just put maybe a period. There we go. Hit save. Okay, so this is still running. You can see it's going to take a while still. That's fine. So let's go back to the diff folder. Now, the reason I didn't want to do this because, as I said, this does take a while. So I'm wondering if I can open up another Meld. Let me see if I can open up another Meld. No, I can't. Okay, I have to wait for this one to finish. Let me see if I can open up on the command line. So if I type Meld, another one open up. Oh, another one opened up. Great. Okay, so I'm able to open up another one without what's going on. So, okay, so that's why I don't want to open up images, but you can if for some reason. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to compare this one test1.txt and text2.txt. Okay. So if I dump them in here, if you see the color let me actually zoom in. Yeah, so you can see here, you see it because it says files are identical. So the files are identical. So now you see they give us more options. You see down here, there's this open a recent correction, and then there's this one here, which is copy chunks. I mean, copy chunks from this side to that side or this side to this side. And then you see here now, if we go to our menu, you see you have find and replace. Obviously you can view, but these are the same, so that doesn't make much sense to. And you can see you can also save them individually. For example, if I change this one, I could save it here, and this file I could save it here. Now this is that comparison. The first one is still not ready yet. So you can always close it here as well. And then there should be, you can click this to open up a new, this one here to open up a new comparison. You see, it says start a comparison. So we do that here. I can close this one. This is the first one. I'll leave that there for what now. And then we're going to compare test1 to test3. Okay, so you don't need this one here. So you see the difference between, these are the same. This is not what I want. It's hard to see because of the glare. Okay, so I don't need this one. This is the one, test3. This is the one I want, test3. Oh yeah, this is the one I wanted. So you see test1 this tab up here, test 1 to test 3. So this is test 1 and this is test 3. As you can see, the first line is the same, the second line and the third line are different, and obviously the fourth line is the same. So you can see I can, you see the arrows here, so I can push this changes to this side, or if I push the arrow this way, this changes from right to left or left to right. So down here I can do the same. So for example, this down here, if I want, I can push this change here and this change here. Now you've noticed because lines 2 and 3 are different, so there's only one arrow. So if you're confused, let me, for example, take this out of here and leave it as a space and put it down here. Do you see what I mean? Now you see how the color coding changed. So now I can either replace it this way, or I can replace it this one. You see there's a different color now because it's missing on this side. So again, I can take this change here, or if I take this one, if I do it this way, you see then now it changes this one. So I can either push it here, or I can also delete it here. For example, if I want to do it manually, I can do this. And you see now they're identical. Now if you notice, because on the right side, the file on the right side, the save is still grayed out because nothing changed here. But on the left side, you see I can now save this if I want to keep them identical. But I'm not going to do anything. In fact, what I'm going to do is, let's see here. That's what this one does. Open recent comparison. So I'll just undo. Is there an undo in the menu? Okay, there's no undo. I'll just do Control Z or Z. There we go. So, and you can see another thing highlighted. See the word donation is different. That's highlighted because the only changes are between donation and course. So those are, that's a change. And then here, you see the word shop, Jumbo shop is missing from the word Ojambo. So that highlights what they changed. That's why I said sometimes having a visual representation is better. So that's that one. And this one is still not working. This one I think is just stuck. Oh, here we go. Oh, it actually did it. I'm actually blown away. Wow. It actually worked. I think this must have been a recent update, because before, as you saw on the screenshot I took, it was completely messed up. So this must be a new version. I'm guessing that, let me see what version this is. I'm actually shocked. So this is version 3.23.0. So that one actually does open up images. I'm actually shocked. Okay, I'm going to compare 1 and 3 and see if that works. 1 and 2, sorry. I'm actually shocked that that worked. And it's instant. Wow. I'm actually shocked. I'm literally shocked. I'm going to do one crazy one. I'm going to compare this AVF file to the test one. Which one is it? Yeah, this is it. There we go. So that time, trying to compare an image file to a text file, you can see you can see the issue there is that it tries to convert this into text, so it can try to comparison, but it doesn't make sense. Okay, so that's pretty good, and that was actually pretty fast. I'm actually impressed. Okay, so now I think I can close. Yeah, so we have 2 of these open. So I will continue with this one. So you can have multiple separate windows open. Okay, so that's fine. Now we can also do folder comparison. So I'm going to compare 1 to 2. I'll just drag them in here. Okay, that it says a program opening the file diff1. Yeah, because I dragged them into that one, so that didn't make sense. But if we actually, let me close this and go to a new comparison. I'll try it again. There we go. So you can see here, it's telling me in folder number 1, there's a file called test1.txt, and notice the color. and then you see here it has the line crossed out. That means it doesn't exist in the one folder. But in the two folder, you see test1.txt is crossed out because it doesn't exist, and obviously test3.txt doesn't exist in the one folder, so that's why it's differently color coded. So one thing you can do is you can see now you have because I have at least two changes here. You can see I can go down like that, so I can navigate them, and you can see it says copy to right, so from here to here. Now if I, for example, do this and right click, you can see it says marked selected file. If I go here, I can delete selected. So if I delete selected, what that will do then, it will then at least for the first line they will be the same, and then I just need to do something for the second one. So that's up to you what you want to do. So finally, let's do the three-way comparison. 1, 2, 3. So three different folders. So I just drag them in here. See, this are three different folders. So you see one, obviously 3 is in the middle and 2, it doesn't really matter, but you can tell that, for example, the PHP file is missing in 1 and obviously it's missing in 2. It's only available in 3. And then you can see on the second file in all of them, it doesn't really exist because only 3 has two files. See this one, it's test1.txt. It's actually missing in the 2 folder. However, it noticed that this file is different from this file, and not just because of the size. So this is 84 bytes and this one is 88 bytes, and you can see the time when they were modified as well. So if I click on this file, you see this is the three-way. This is the three-way. You see it says file 3 because it doesn't exist here. So if I wanted, I could basically, if I did this, it would just remove it from here, and then I can also remove it from here. But in this case, you can see here's the difference. You see it's a different color because it's three-way. It says check out the awesome feature. Check out the awesome feature is fine, and said on ojambo.com. And this case, it says ojambo.com, but you can see the period is the one that's different. And for making a donation, Now the reason you might be wondering why is this a different color? The reason is because it doesn't exist here. So if let me create an empty file in 3 here. I'll just create an completely empty file. Let me actually I'll just create a new document. And wrong folder. Need to go to the folder number 2, and I'm gonna create a new document, and I'll call it, just rename it. I think it's empty. Hopefully it's empty. Test 1. Now when I go back here, so now does it need to do a refresh? I think it needs to do is there a reload? Let me see if there's a reload, because I just created a file there. Oh, refresh. There we go. Refresh. There we go. Refresh. See, they're all different now. This is actually much bigger. You can see here. So if I just click on any of them, here we go. So as you can see here, so it's still so the file does exist now, test1, but it has completely different content in it than the other. So I can go this way or this way, left, right. It's up to you. So whichever way you prefer. Now, as I promised, you can also do this for, you see I have a Git workflow here from the Git workflow tutorial. So I have 2 projects. So if I go to new comparison, and you don't always have to go to new comparison. You can simply just start a new one, or you can just click, from any of these. So it should detect it should detect everything automatically. So get rid of this, I think. Yeah, here we go. Local project and my project. So you see, it also found that it did find it. And I mean the local project, and you see the differences here. not just the size, but if we actually go in there, you can see because some of this were not committed, so that's the difference. So let's actually try the version control. I am going to, this is getting a little bit messy here, so let me actually close some of this. Okay, so I'm going to try the version control. So this is just a Git project, so I'm going to see if I can just drag it in here. Nope, it doesn't work that way. I'm guessing I need to compare. Let's see, version control. Okay, so I'll just find this manually. I think it's Edward. Oops, that's not the folder I want. The other. What is going on here? I can't see. Oh, it is Edward. Where does? There we go. I want the ZZ folder. Okay, I'm gonna go to another screen just a second. You probably won't see. Oh, it's upside down. Sorry. It's tutorial, Git, workflow, and Git project. Okay, so the Git project is here, and let's just compare. Oh, that's weird. That doesn't work. I don't know why that doesn't work. Okay. I don't know that version control. Maybe it's wonky, but that's basically the Meld. So this is a visual way to see your to compare files. So as I showed you in a previous tutorial, you can do it on the command line. You can also I forgot to mention that you can also run this on the command line as it's shown there. So you just where's my mouse? Just a second, I'll come back to the command line and I'll show you here. So what I can do is, this is actually not needed, I don't know. Okay, what I can do is you can just type meld local. Am I not in the, oh, I'm in the wrong one. I'm in this one, Diff. So I just say, I can compare folders, like say 2 and 3. And you can see it'll open up just like this. And the good thing about this as well is if you create your own custom scripts like I did. So for example, one here, I can go right. I have my own custom scripts. I say compare left. And this one I can go to my scripts and say compare right. And you see it will be the same thing. So you can also script, if you like to do any bash type scripting, you can do that as well. So Meld can also integrate into your favorite IDE. As I said, you can put some script, some type of script that will let it run, because you can see it just takes 2 parameters, whatever the folder is or the files. So you can, you can usually do three-way comparison. Okay, I think I'll stop now. That's enough for showing you how to use Meld. Let's go back to the article. The article is available on ojambo.com/compare-code-changes-with-meld. The links for all this will also be in the description. So be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content. And quick reminder that every day there's a live stream. You just go to the watch menu live and you see which one is either ongoing or upcoming. And it will show you the time as well under the channel. So if you enjoy this, consider supporting me. Purchase one of my WordPress plugins at ojambo.com. Enroll in my programming courses on ojamboshop.com. Buying my programming books on Amazon, search for Edward Ojambo. Links in the description. Hiring me for your programming and app development needs at ojamboservices.com, or you can become a donor at ojambo.com/donate. Here, all in the header bar here, donate. So that's it. See you in the next one.